Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. And I'm going to give and interject my financial opinions when we look at these charts. If you guys need any help, you can check out finding-value.com. We do have a discount. It's the last day today. It is August for 50% off the first month if you'd like to try it. Join our community. We do have a platinum question and answer session coming up next Saturday at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Let's dive in and see what's going on today. So we've got the dollar here. Dollar still strengthening. Momentum's to the upside. It's been pretty relentless here. Basically cutting through the resistance line, which is this guy here, cutting through like butter and just continuing to go on higher. Looking at yields down a little bit today on the 2-year, but we're still above support, at least on the 2-year there. That's what it looks like back and out. We are on this kind of megaphone pattern that's going on here. Sometimes these can be topping patterns, and maybe perhaps we head lower. That's kind of where my head's at, but almost like we're going to see a slowdown at some point, but yields continue to just relentlessly move higher. The 10-year up, again, we continue to move on up. Momentum's coming back down a little bit, but overall, 10 years continuing to move on up, and same with the 30-year, up 0.9%. Are we going to get some sort of turn there, or are we going to continue higher? That's what we're waiting to see. In yields, yields moving higher are generally means that people are selling bonds, and that money rotates into other assets. It's also generally it's a deal with inflation. So if you've got inflation, interest rates generally move up because of that inflation, real negative rates. But we could be in a situation where people are selling bonds because they do not want to hold bonds, and they have the belief, whether it's short term or not, that the long term they don't want to be holding these instruments, bonds in particular. So TYX TNX ratio, we are still at a very low level. This is generally a decent time to be looking at precious metals areas. All in these areas have been good accumulation points for the metals. So I can continue to say that this is generally a good area to be looking at metals, irrespective of what the short-term price is doing. What this means is that the yield curve is highly inverted. That's what this coming down is. The yield curve's inverted, and we're at a low level where generally it's a good time to be looking at precious metals. We still have DXY going up today, and yields were still at an elevated level. Bond prices did fall a little bit. They've been in a move to the downside, so that means that yields continue higher, bond prices continue lower. We have not seen any sort of structural shift in that momentum yet. Gold slightly lower with the yields up and the dollar slightly higher. It's holding on. It's right at that support level. Now, I know a lot of people will say, if this were to drop or come back down, they'd be like, oh, I told you so. Gold's not going higher, or something on the lines of that. I still think that gold is an incredibly good spot to go a lot higher, irrespective if this drops a little bit. And then I keep thinking we are going to move on up because the yield curve's inverted, and it's inverted quite a bit. And if we get a slowdown in the markets, that curve's most likely going to uninvert, which is going to push gold prices higher. Now, in the short term, it can move any direction at once. That's not in the bag. But in the long term, I highly doubt that yields are going to stay inverted forever. So at some point, this is going to uninvert. And historically, I'll throw the gold price up here, guys, just so you guys can see it. Historically, if you buy at these general locations, when it's very low, Basically, at these locations here, you would have done incredibly well buying at these locations. As you can see, big moves up, big moves up, big moves up, and most likely a big move up. It doesn't mean that we go straight higher. We'll have our pullbacks as we go, and this very well could be a little bit of a pullback in gold price. And again, I don't know how big this will be if we do get a further pullback, but we're at support, and we'll see if that support holds. Silver also throwing in some nice wicks at the bottom. People are coming in and buying it up towards the end of the day. There's your spikes lower, almost as if someone's trying to manipulate this lower. So they gap it down in the morning and it gets bought back up. They gap it down in the morning, gets bought back up. So there's buying pressure in the markets. That's what those wicks are telling us. But we'll see if this is if we turn and actually move up higher. We'll see if that occurs. Platinum at $891, still one of the cheapest metals in the world, one of the cheapest assets. If we get down a little bit lower, I am buying up the stores, guys. We're down today, down $10. We are still, again, at those low levels for an inverted yield curve. And when money or when they have to accelerate the economy, this is going to move up when they print that money or lower those rates. So I think this is actually at a pretty good location. If it were to fall further, look for lower 800s, and that would be a really good accumulation point if we were to get down there. Big picture view on platinum. Here's your 3-hump deal there. Generally, this is where we start to break. We had the COVID event, the false breakout. We came back up, and we've basically lingered here with platinum. We've lingered sideways. I think this is still a very good opportunity, and we have upside instead of downside ahead of us in terms of the risk reward. Lots of upside reward. I think the downside risk is maybe $800, somewhere in that range. We've got good support in around upper 700s, low 800s. XAU to gold ratio down quite a bit, actually, 2.5%, and there we are heading lower. Can we break to the downside here? It is possible. And we're right on support for this XAU to gold ratio. CRV index down a little bit, down 1.36%. We were down in crude oil and some of those other areas. Basically, we're down kind of everywhere, all over the place. We're pulling back a little bit on the CRV index. Maybe we can come back and do a retest move. If that's the case, we're going to have excellent entry points in a lot of different sectors coming up here if it does pull back further. CRV to S&P 500, that is Wednesday, August 16th. I don't know how that's possible, but August 14th, Monday. It should be Tuesday. I don't know why it's showing Wednesday there. But we're up today, 1.17%, still looking good for commodities. GDX down with some good selling pressure. This could go and pull back further. GDXJ also selling with good pressure, and SILJ. We could see further downside in all of those based off of the candlesticks and how much pressure we've seen being sold. So expect a little bit further downside potentially in the gold and silver mining companies, although the physical metals don't look that bad. Crude oil down 1.88% today. There we are, getting a little bit more selling pressure today. Are we going to get some sort of pullback down here, which gives us another buying opportunity? Very well could. Again, I'm in these. I'm locked and loaded from over here. I'm riding it and seeing where this thing goes. So again, looks good. We've got good upside momentum with a little bit more selling pressure here recently. Natural gas getting sold off a little bit more today. Looks like we could see further downside with the pressure that we saw, selling pressure today. Is this going to be kind of a pattern that looks something like this? Maybe. We'll find out. Again, I don't play these markets short term, long term. It looks to me like we're trying to put a bottom in and move on up. TTF natural gas, Dutch natural gas also looks quite strong. So I'm gonna stay long, keep going. XOP, yeah, you know me, Selling off a little bit more today. There it is today, just coming on back. We're right underneath resistance. There's that resistance neckline of the inverted head and shoulders. This is a gigantic bottoming pattern. And yes, we could loop back. Yes, we could break, over the next week or two. I don't know the short term, but everything's set up to move higher in XOP on the long term, not the short term, the long term. OIH also still looking good. We had a little bit more selling pressure today, still above support. Everything looks okay for OIH. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we hit our head on that 1815 level. We're pulling back from that 1815 level. What we're looking for is a higher low. So maybe we pull back somewhere in this region and we get a higher low, and the breakout isn't meant to be at this exact second. So we might have to loop back around again. Just be patient. Everything's still holding together okay. URA getting a little bit of selling pressure there. We are at this resistance level. We've broken this support level, and maybe we pull back, maybe we don't. Again, I don't play the short terms here. Everything looks good to continue higher if it decides to move on higher. But we got some selling pressure today. URNM also selling off a little bit more today, a little bit more momentum to the downside, still above the trend line. Everything's still in check. We had a really good setup here, a nice good bullish engulfing with a little bloody nose, and it sold off today. And that happens. It's part of the statistic. Maybe we come back, re-hit it, and then move on higher. URNJ just doing everything at an amplified move versus the other ETFs. Everything still looks fine. We're still above all the support. Nothing's broken. TAN getting sold off a little bit further down here. It does look like we will continue to the downside in TAN. TAN isn't necessarily a cash flow generator. It's being supported by subsidies and governments. So solar, I know a lot of people say solar, it's the cheapest way to generate electricity. Yeah, when it works, guys. When it works. And what it's been doing is it's been driving natural gas demand higher and higher. It shifts it to that transitional fuel that covers the gaps. So nat gas, I would rather play nat gas than solar, but this does look like we could go down further. COPX getting hit pretty hard today. I know copper's kind of fallen out the bottom side, and I'll show you what that looks like. And we've been seeing strong selling pressure in copper. We're still within the channel, but we're seeing some strong selling pressure. Lithium also seeing some strong selling pressure. We're back within the pattern. Some people calling this as a false breakout. I don't know. We're going to wait and see what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait and see what this thing does. REMX is in the same situation. We're back within the pattern. And we could be in this pattern for a little while. We could pull back even further. There it is. Nice strong selling pressure the past 4 days. S&P 500 starting to accelerate to the downside. Here's your top potentially. That's your bearish engulfing, and we're getting stronger selling pressure as we move forward. Less buying pressure, stronger selling pressure. This looks like it could continue to the downside. Same with NASDAQ. NASDAQ doesn't look as bad, but we are seeing stronger selling pressure candlesticks in relationship to the up days, and that hasn't changed yet. Emerging markets down 1.14, right on support. I still like emerging markets in this general location, and I think we'll eventually work our way higher at some point. We need the dollar to weaken, and we need yields to weaken. XHB holding in there, down 0.27%, just moving sideways. We do have a bearish candlestick here, and we don't really have much coming, so it's possible that we could dive down with the rest of the market. MU is definitely heading lower. That is where I think we are heading for a little while. We've broken that uptrend line, so look for more downside in MU. We very well could hit some support in this general vicinity. Just above that, probably somewhere in this general range is where we could find some support, and we'll see what happens there. Copper down 1.7. This does look a little bit more grim as we sell. We have stronger selling pressure. We've broken through that support level through here. We've broken through that support level We do have a lot of support underneath us. I don't think it's just going to drop out like nothing. I mean, it could, but we do have some good, strong support in this general vicinity here. So between $3 and $3.68 where we are today, there's some good support. We'll see what happens and see if it holds. Iron ore moving sideways, and I think we've got a nice, good, gigantic consolidation in a falling wedge. Hopefully we'll break out at some point. Nickel falling further. It does look like we're getting some more selling pressure here in the short term. That does look like it could be a double top, and we could go back, pull back further. Aluminum just holding steady, moving sideways. Although inventories are incredibly low, they're doing a good job of basically pushing this all lower. The markets, that is. Baltic Dry Index holding on up 0.53%. Again, I still think this is going to work its way higher eventually. Maybe not in the short term. We've got the falling wedge, the false breakout. That's generally it moves higher. Newcastle coal futures. I think it looks fantastic. Here's your basing pattern. The breakout is here, and then the retest is here. We're doing a retest. That's generally a good spot to be looking. Same with like urea, ammonium nitrate. All those are kind of doing the same type of moves. Bitcoin getting a little bit of selling pressure today, but still holding in there. It's not horrible. Same with Ethereum. Still holding in there on support. And we'll see if that support holds. So today, a little bit more selling pressure across the board is what we're seeing. And what am I going to do? Absolutely nothing. Just going to wait and watch. If we do get a pullback in some of these stocks, the equities, I'll be buying more at some point. I'm just going to wait. Is uranium dead? Nope. Uranium still looks good. Just wait. Wait and see. We'll see what the markets look like. I can tell you this, uranium, man, that looked good. We had the bullish engulfing, bloody nose, and then today, a little bit more selling pressure, unfortunately. So maybe we might have to loop back around, wait a little bit longer before the break. But we're getting warmer. We're getting warmer. We're getting closer. The light at the end of the tunnel is getting closer to us. But that's what we've got for today, guys. Thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you like. And we'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.